Hello and welcome to the Newsome MMA betting podcast. I'm your host as always, Newsome, and it's been a bit scarce lately with UFC events, so I'm pretty sure I can speak on behalf of everyone that the UFC blues are very real right now. But the betting lines are out for UFC 223, and I'm back. So just when you thought I couldn't deliver any more treats for you guys, I'm here tonight and delivering it yet again. So I'd like to welcome my guest host for the evening, the UFC lightweight and welterweight fan favourite fighter, Damien Beatdown Brown. I just want to say a big thank you so much for taking the time to join me and breaking some fights down today, Damien. So how's it going, bro?
It's going good, man. Thanks for that. I'm always down for breaking fights. We got there eventually.
Yeah, just a few rearrangements, but yeah, we're here and we're ready to go. So before we get into the breakdowns, I'd just like to quickly run over the bad news that broke last night. I'm sure everybody at this point knows exactly what I'm talking about, and I'm devastated to say that a knee injury to Tony Ferguson forced him to pull out of this fight against Habib. And I did have a 6 unit bet on Habib as well, so I had a pretty big bet, which is now obviously void. But the UFC have drafted in the featherweight champion Max Holloway to replace Tony on late notice, which is it's both super intriguing and it confirms that Max is nothing short of a warrior in the sport to take this sort of fight on 6 days' notice. And of course, we do still have a very fun card ahead of us as well. So, without further ado, we're just going to move straight into the breakdown. So, as always, I've got my bets together and we're breaking those down in full for you. Anything else that's on the rest of the card that I haven't bet on, we'll just quick fire off at the end, give you a pick, a reason why, and then for me, I'll explain why I've passed on that fight as well. So, the first bet to break down for you guys, we've got Iaquinta against Paul Felder. Now, for me, I think this is it's a really good stylistic fight for Paul Felder, in my opinion, because I really highly doubt that the fight is going to hit the mat at any point. You know, it's always a possibility, but I doubt it with these two guys. They're both primarily strikers, and for me, there's three stages of the stand-up game in regards to your striking. So you've got kicking distance, then you've got boxing distance, and then you've got the clinch game. So this is where I think it's really stylistically good for Paul Felder because if Iaquinta stays at kicking range, Paul Felder's a good Muay Thai kickboxer. He'll just hammer Iaquinta for 15 minutes with kicks unless he actually finishes him. Then you've got the boxing range inside of there, and for me that's where Iaquinta will want to be and needs to be to beat Paul Felder. But then if he gets too close into that boxing range, he'll end up tying up in the clinch, and again that's where I then go back to favouring Paul Felder because he's got some vicious knees, he's got vicious elbows, he'll cut you up. We saw with Stevie Ray, I think it was a knee to the solar plexus that eventually put him down and ended up being the beginning of the end for Stevie Ray. So he's really brutal inside that clinch. So for me, I just think it's going to be tough for Iaquinta to stay in that boxing range for 15 minutes without Paul Felder actually moving in or out himself to either keep him at kicking distance or get him into the clinch. So I just think it's a really good matchup for Felder. And the other thing to point out as well is if you're watching tape, studying, you're researching these fights, go back and watch Iaquinta again against Jorge Masvidal. Now Masvidal's not primarily known for his kicks and stuff like that. I'm not saying he hasn't got it because he's a striker himself, but he's not primarily known for it. But Iaquinta in that fight, he just didn't seem to know. Well, not know, but he didn't seem to deal with the kicks as well as someone would hope. Like there was times where he just wouldn't be checking leg kicks or he'd be walking through body kicks, and then you saw as the fight progressed slowly it did start to wear on him a bit to the point where he was getting a bit agitated. He'd get hit with a kick and then he'd become a bit aggressive because he felt that the kicks were getting through, and I just feel that that's Paul Felder's strongest part of his game. It is his kicking, and I think that if Iaquinta hasn't or doesn't improve his defensive side of his stand up in regards to defending the kicks and doing something to get around them, I can actually see Paul Felder finishing him in this fight. I think if he does, it'll be late. I could see maybe I don't think it'll be a head kick. It wouldn't surprise me if it was just repeated kicks to the legs, and eventually just slows Iaquinta down, and again that being the beginning of the end for him. But I've got 2 unit bet on Paul Felder. I've got 1.5 units at plus 120, and I've got half a unit which I added today at plus 110. So 2 units in total, and yeah, I really like Paul Felder in this fight. So what about you, Damien? Who have you got?
Well, breakdowns that you just gave, I mean, that's exactly what I would have thought. Like, Iaquinta needs to be in boxing range. I mean, you've seen what he did with Diego Sanchez. There was no stroke, like, not a kickboxer. But Felder's dangerous. Like, he's leg kicks, knees in the clinch. Pure striking, really, when you think about it. Um, it's an interesting matchup because Iaquinta likes to stand up, but I think it's the kind of matchup we haven't seen much of his wrestling, but it's the kind of matchup where he could maybe show another side to him. He's getting at that level. He's signed a new deal. I think this is his opportunity to get into that boxing range and maybe hit a takedown. Hit the takedown before he gets in clinch range. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
hit it from boxing range. If he gets in the clinch, that's obviously, like you said, that's where it's dangerous for him. But I think if he can get in that boxing range and start working his hands and maybe get Felder on the back foot a little, then he can probably hit a takedown. But it's whether he wants to do that or not is another question. But I think it's the ideal fight for him to do that. But yeah, definitely, I think Felder's extremely dangerous on the feet for anyone. I mean, his leg kicks are powerful, and I mean, I would put him striking wise probably second to only Barbosa as
Oh wow.
a straight striker in the division. You know what I mean? Like from his kicks, his knees, punches, elbows. I mean, everything's really crisp. Um,
I
so
mean,
as far as
sorry, go on.
like straight Muay Thai, do you know what I mean? Like that's obviously what both of them completely love, and I feel like the way he carries himself inside the cage and the way he throws his strikes is very, very powerful. And you don't get to see that very often. Like a lot of guys have got awesome striking, but yeah, I just think he's on another level. So I think if Iaquinta sits at a distance, you could be possibly right. I think Felder could finish him with just repeated leg kicks. I think if he gets in range, he could wear a few hard elbows and some knees, but definitely needs to stay in that boxing range.
So who's your pick to take the win home with him?
So I'd actually picked Iaquinta, but your breakdowns like maybe convinced me the other way. But I picked Iaquinta.
Cool.
I think you'll knock him out.
Sorry.
I think you'll knock Felder out.
Oh wow. Okay. Cool. Well, we'll see one way or another on Saturday night. But yeah. So moving on to the next one, we've got Joe Lauzon against Chris Gruetzemacher now. People might be sitting out thinking, why are you betting on this sort of fight? And I think that I haven't picked a side, by the way. This is a prop bet, so I'll just go ahead and say it straight away. I've gone for the under 2.5 rounds at plus 137. Now, out in America, I don't think that you get the choice of all the rounds, but over in the UK we do. So in a 3 round fight, I'll get the choice of over 0.5, 1.5, 2.5, and for five round fights, it's over 3.5 and 4.5 as well. So we get the choice of all of them. And it was just a line that I actually spotted. I didn't really want, because this was set at 1.5 this fight, and I sort of felt that was a little bit too much of a gamble, because he could easily go just either side of that. But when I saw the under 2.5, I actually really liked it, and I'll tell you why. So for me, Joe Lauzon is on an obvious decline. He's at the end of his career, in my opinion. He's had a lot of wars inside that cage. Um, his gas tank's not great. He's got a good first round in him, but after them, he does slow down a lot. His chin is also been cracked and checked so many times as well. Um, so for me, when I found out Lauzon was fighting on this card, I sort of got a bit excited. And again, I don't mean any disrespect, but I mean, I'm a gambler and I want to make money. That's what I focus on. So when I saw Lauzon, I thought, okay, this might be a good time to bet against Lauzon. But then I saw the matchup with Chris Gruetzemacher, and I thought, oh, shit, this is actually a really good like matchup for Lauzon. They've not brought somebody in to absolutely dead him inside the cage, because Gruetzemacher has got finishes on his record, but they tend to be ground and pound and accumulation of strikes where refs sort of step in and save them rather than just like one shot knockout power. But the reason why I like this bet is because I see this fight going one of three ways. So the first way is Lauzon coming out strong, as he always does in round one, rushes in, gets a takedown, takes Gruetzemacher's back and submits him, possibly with a rear naked choke. If you look at Gruetzemacher's record, he's got a lot of losses by rear naked choke, and his submission defence isn't that great, and that's Lauzon's game, that's his bread and butter. I think if Lauzon can get him to the mat in round one, I think he finishes him, thus cashing my bet. The second part of that is if Gruetzemacher survives that first round, Lauzon starts gassing. I don't think he can one shot knock him out, because I just don't think he has that power, but what I do think he can do is just wear on him. And I think at some point in that second round or early third round at the latest, I think Gruetzemacher will end up finishing with an accumulation of strikes. So Lauzon will at this point probably just be really tired, as we've seen in previous fights. Gruetzemacher will just put it on him a bit and drop him, and it'll not be a knockout. Again, it'll just be a referee jumping in to save the day for Lauzon. So that's the second way I could see it going. Or the third way is if Gruetzemacher just can't do that. He just can't end up putting him away for whatever reason. So that would then go to a decision that I think Gruetzemacher would win, but obviously my bet wouldn't have cashed. Now, personally, I think it's going to go the way of the first method that I said. I think Lauzon is going to come out. I think he's going to put it on him. I think he's going to get a takedown against the cage or something, and I think he's going to climb that back and choke Gruetzemacher out in round one. So yeah, the prop bet, I've got 1.5 units on the under 2.5 at plus 137. But the pick is Joe Lauzon by submission in round one. What about you, Damien?
Yeah, it's a good fight for Lauzon. I like Lauzon. He's good everywhere. I mean, he's got good striking. He's had some real wars in the cage. I like the Lauzon that was against Sanchez. He looked fit, strong, and he didn't. To me, even though he finished it quick, he didn't come out guns blazing, 100%. You know what I mean? He kind of paced himself a little. Well, looked like he did for the 90 seconds or whatever it went for. But I hope that he comes out like that. And if he does, I do believe that his striking will set up his takedowns. But yeah, I definitely think he'll finish this fight like inside the distance.
Inside the distance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think your bet will cash on this one. Yeah, he'll finish the fight inside the distance. I can't see this one going all the way. He does slow down as the fight progresses because of his pace that started it. But you only slow down if you're not winning. That's it's a weird kind of thing. But the thing with fighting is if you're winning, you never seem to feel tired. But if you're not winning, you feel tired really quickly. So I think as long as he's got the upper hand early, he won't fatigue like people expected he probably will, and I think he'll get the job done.
I mean, that's an interesting point, and obviously you're going to know better than anyone, aren't you? with you being a fighter yourself. So no, it's not something I took into consideration. But I like that even better, because if Lauzon does pace himself, or if he doesn't tire because he is winning, I think at any point that this fight hits the mat, I think he'll submit Gruetzemacher, because I just don't think Gruetzemacher's submission defense is that good. It's a real Achilles heel for him. And I know he's fought some good grapplers. He got submitted by Tony Martin, although I think Lauzon's a better grappler and submission artist than Martin. And he also got submitted by David Hamos, and he's a monster. He's got BJJ competition experience as well at the highest level. So I know he's been fighting some decent submission guys. But listen, Lauzon's just as good. And I think if that fight, like I say, if the fight is the mat, I don't see Gruetzemacher not getting submitted unless the fight hits the mat with like 30 seconds of a round, and then he's going to be cutting it fine. But Yeah, I do think Lauzon will take this.
I think Lauzon just keeps his distance in his boxing and sets up his takedown. When he gets him down, he'll finish him. I don't think it'll take too long. Yeah, I think he'll cash in on that under 2.5 rounds. We don't get that chance out here in Australia either. The every round thing.
Oh, really?
We only get the under 2.5. That's it. Or over 2.5. We don't get the 1.5 or the 0.5 or anything like that.
No, we must have got struck lucky then in the UK.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So moving on to the next one, and this isn't a bet as of yet. It's a line that I'm currently watching at the minute. But we've got Zabit Magomedsharipov against Karl Bochniak. Now, this is one of the biggest mismatches I think you'll see on a UFC card all year. I'm not sure. I'm not sure we'll see a bigger mismatch, and I don't mean any disrespect to Karl Bochniak by saying that. It's just that I'm that high on Zabit Magomedsharipov. I legit think that he's top 3 in the featherweight division right now. I know he's not. I know he's working his way up. There's a process to get there, but I think he could easily go into that cage with Max Holloway and not just have a good fight with Holloway, but I think he could potentially beat him. People might give me shit for that and say, oh, he's not ready and this, that, and the other, and he's not really being tested. But he's got the skill set, and also the one thing that one of the main things I think Holloway will dominate a lot of people in that division with is because of his height, reach, and range. And Zabit's a similar sort of height. He's the long, lanky, rangy fighter, and I think he could give Holloway some trouble. So, like I said, it's not me disrespecting Bochniak. It's just the fact I'm that high on Zabit, and he is a future champion in my opinion. Now, I'm not going to play this line straight because it's like minus 700, 800, 900, minus 1,000 in some places. So it's not something that I'm going to play. But the lines have just dropped at the minute for fight doesn't go the distance, which it came in at minus 155 in America. It dropped to minus 110, came back up to minus 145. And this is a line I thought that would be around the minus 250, minus 300 mark itself for it not to go the distance. So I'm really surprised it's dropped this low. But there's that, and then I'm thinking, well, if the line's at minus 145 for the fight not to go the distance, that gives you Zabit finish, and that gives you the Bochniak finish as well. Now, if Bochniak wins this fight, it's going to be a finish. He's not going to 3 point. He's not going to outpoint Zabit over 3 rounds. So now I'm thinking, well, I actually don't think Bochniak's going to win at all. So if that line's minus 145, what's Zabit to win inside the distance? So knockout or submission. I can see myself getting close to plus money with that, and that's what I'm hoping anyway. Hoping the lines hurry up and come out for that. So I'm eyeing a few things here. Definitely the fight doesn't go the distance. Also, I'd be interested to see the under 2.5 as well, because I think if it gets halfway through round 3, I know he's submitted Shaman Marias very, very late in his last fight, but Shaman Marias is a beast, man. Like people underestimated him, and look what Zabit did to him. Bochniak ain't gonna put up that much of a fight. So if it does end up going that late in the fight, I think he'll go to the decision anyway. And then, like I say, I'm looking for the Zabit inside the distance as well. So I'm looking at those 3 lines. I'll be playing one of them. I'm sure I will, because I think I'm going to get some decent odds. But yeah, Zabit just wins the fight everywhere. I don't really know. I don't really have too much to say on it because his striking's better, his grappling's better, his wrestling's better, his submission game's better, his cardio. Well, they're probably about the same in regards to the cardio because Bochniak's not bad himself, but yeah, I just think wherever this fight goes, Zabit's going to have an answer for him, and I think Zabit's going to get a submission probably late in the first round, and will ultimately cash whichever better decide to take. So what about you, Damien? What have you got?
Uh, yeah, look, Zabit is he's very flashy, he's creative, he throws a lot of spinning cut stuff, jumping off the cages. He's got real skills, um, and to beat someone like that, you need to be in their face. Um, you you can only throw all that flashy stuff and set all the flashy stuff up if people give you distance. I don't think that, I think Bochniak in his last fight showed that, it wasn't the most entertaining fight, but he showed that he had the ability to follow a game plan and execute it to a degree where he could win a fight. And saying that, if he fights like he did in the last fight, he'll get finished in like 2 minutes. He can't sit back and wait for Zabit to come to him and try to counter-strike him. Like, he can't do that. He can't do that with anyone that throws anything spinning and flashing. You need to be in their face, take the distance away. I don't think that Bochniak is the right person to do that. And I agree that I think Zabit could finish. Well, he will finish the fight, but I'm not 100% sure when he'll finish the fight.
Yeah.
He might work his way into it as well. But I don't think Bochniak's, the fighter to smother him and take those tools away from him. So I just can't see how he wins the fight, unless he just catches him with a shot or something like that. But yeah.
Well, yeah, that's it. That's what I was thinking of.
I definitely think Zabit's going to get up for sure, and by finish.
Yeah. I don't think he'll knock him out. I think Bochniak will try and. I think you're right. I think Bochniak will know that in regards to not sitting back with his flashy style, but. And because of that, that's why I think he's going to get submitted, because I think Bochniak is probably going to try and get in his face early on, and as soon as he gets anywhere close to Zabit, he's just going to throw him to the mat, and he'll not be a double leg or a single leg. It'll be a clinch. He'll clinch up and he'll trip him or hip toss him or something to the mat. And once he lands on the mat, he won't land in guard. He'll land probably side control or half guard at worst, and I think at that point it'll just be a case of him working up the proverbial triangle and the proverbial pyramid and just submitting him. I don't know what with it could be with anything. He's got a lot of submissions. And the other thing to mention in regards to this bet as well is Zabit hasn't gone to a decision in nearly 5 years, which spans over 8 fights. And I know he's fought some Russian dudes in different organisations with ACB and stuff as well. So he's fought Sambo combat fighters, and Bochniak's just not that level. So yeah, I'm pretty comfortable.
Yeah, I would be too.
So that's it for my potential bets. So we're just going to jump into the quick fire round now. So again, just a quick pick, reason why, and I'll tell you the reason I passed on the bet. So the first one we've got is the new fight that I touched upon earlier a little bit, which is Khabib Nurmagomedov against Max Holloway. And I think Khabib's just going to run through him. I know people might be, there's a few people on Twitter saying, people aren't really giving Max a chance, stuff like that. I would if he had a full camp, but the fact is he's coming on 6 days notice. There's rumours of a foot that's not healed properly, and they were talking about a surgery on this foot as well, and then Holloway decided against that. So there's definitely some, there's never any smoke without flames, and I just think that there's something in that. But then the other side to it as well is I was looking at how they matched up earlier. There's only 1 inch height difference, which is edged obviously to Holloway. So he's now fighting someone that's his same size, and Khabib's just a beast. And honestly, I think Holloway's got good takedown defense in that division, but I think it's at 83%. But I can guarantee that'll be halved by the end of the night with Khabib, and I think Khabib will get the finish as well. I'm not sure when, but ultimately I just think Max is going to gas at some point, and with the ground and pound of Khabib, and that'll be all she wrote. So what about you?
Yeah, look, 6 days notice to be. I mean, I've done it myself, not obviously on that level, but I've done it to get in the UFC, and man, you just get tired so quick. I know he's going up a weight class, but still, no full camp, coming off an injury. Even if he is 100% recovered, he was only injured a month ago. Well, his fight was, a month ago. So he, at best, he's been back in training for like 2, 3, 4 weeks, maybe at tops. And that wouldn't be 100% training either. That'd be just back into training. So, look, I can't see that, Max is good when he controls the fight. If he had the ability to control this fight, he would be able to go 5 rounds because he's a fit young fella, and he's obviously always training. But yeah, look, I just can't see anyone at all beat the kid. Like, the dude is a weapon. You know what I mean? It's very rare in the sport that someone can be 25-0 at any level, let alone at UFC level. He's on a 9-fight win streak, if I'm correct, in the UFC. So I just can't see how anyone beats him. Like, I just don't know where anyone's got that skill set that can stop his takedowns. And he does stuff that other people don't do, like the way he locks your arms down and stuff like that with his ground and pound. I think he'll get Max to the ground and he'll wear down on him. But I'm a massive fan of Max Holloway, so I hope that I'm wrong. But I just can't see Max beating Namajunas. But good on him, man. Multi-million-dollar bank account now. So
yeah, absolutely. Okay, so moving on to the next one, we've got the rematch with Rose Namajunas against Joanna Jedrzejczyk. And again, I might get shit for this, but I'm siding with the challenger to win a belt back. I think that there were two main factors in why Joanna lost that last fight, and this is not including the skills of Rose, because obviously she had to be the person to capitalise on that, so I'm not going to take any credit away from her. But I think a bad weight cut, and I think that mentally Joanna thought that it was an easy fight, she was going to walk through potentially one of the easiest fights she's had in years, and she just got a rude awakening with a fighter that isn't actually bad and is actually a world class level, which she is. You can't take that away from her, she's the champion. But I just think that if Joanna adopts a good game plan here, and stays on the outside, doesn't rush in and angles off well, uses her kicks and sits behind the jab as well, as I think as the fight progresses, I think her cardio will be better than Rose's, and I think she'll win a decision. I don't see Joanna finishing her. If anybody finishes the fight, I think that's more likely to be Rose, because the other thing to take into consideration as well, and the reason why I haven't bet this fight, is Joanna has been dropped quite a lot in the last few fights, so that worries me, and it worries regardless of who it is, whichever fighter it is, that would always worry me. Hence why I don't bet on Arlovsky in fights, for example, just because he gets rocked and dropped a lot. So that's the reason I haven't bet it, but ultimately my pick is Joanna Jedrzejczyk to win a belt back. What about you?
I got Rose this time by submission. Look, Namajunas has got a wicked submission game. She showed that she can stand up with JJ, and I just I can't really see the fight going any different to the last one. However, I can definitely appreciate that a bad weight cut can destroy your night before it even begins. Because a bad weight cut, you can't really come back from, and you can't hydrate and refuel from that as well as you can from a good one. So it's just a flow-on effect all the way into the fight, and definitely still for weeks afterwards. So I think if she had a bad weight cut, it could have contributed to it. But like you said, she's been rocked a few times and dropped, actually, like in a few fights, especially in the later rounds. So I think there's definitely a high possibility that this fight goes the same as it did last time. I think if it goes to ground, Rose will get the finish for sure.
Cool. And I know a lot of people on MMA Twitter, in fact, I think pretty much everybody that I speak to or know has actually bet Rose to win this. So for that reason, I do hope Rose wins and cashes everybody's bets. But moving on to the next one, we've got Renato Moicano against Kattar. Now, Keita, sorry, but this fight is intriguing. Like when I was watching tape on it, I watched Keita first, and I was just like, okay, this guy's a monster. But then I watched Moicano, and I thought, this guy's clever as well. It's a super close fight to pick. I think it's going to primarily take place on the feet. Sorry. I think that it's going to be a very, very close decision win for Calvin Keita, maybe even a split decision as well. But yeah, it's going to be a fun fight. Potentially one of the fights of the night. Could win that bonus as well. I think both fighters are just gonna go at it. I think if Moicano wants to win, though, he just sort of has to adopt a similar sort of game plan as what he did against Jeremy Stephens, and be on the back foot and come in at the right times, and threaten with takedowns himself. But ultimately, I'm just really impressed with what I've seen from Keita. And it's not that I'm not impressed with Moicano. I just think that Keita's come in and he's just taken it by storm. His two fights have been Andre Fili and Shane Burgos, both really good fighters, and to have them for your first two fights in the UFC and to come through that with two decisive wins really speaks volumes. So yeah, I've got Keita by a close decision. What about you?
Yeah, I think Keita will get up in this one for sure. Andre Fili's a good win to have on your record, especially the first couple of fights in the UFC. So yeah, I think you're on the money. He'll get up. I'm not sure whether he'll finish it or go to the decision, but I think he'll definitely get up.
Cool. So moving on to the next one, we've got Michael Chiesa against Anthony Pettis. And again, I'm going against the majority with this. I think that Anthony Pettis is gonna take this win. I know a lot of people, every man and his dog, are picking Chiesa or betting Chiesa, and I could be wrong, and I'll hold my hands up if I am, but I just don't see it. I think that to beat Anthony Pettis, you've got to have three things in your arsenal, and at least deploy two of them against him, and that's power, aggression, and just being in your face and just putting pressure on Pettis. So yeah, power, aggression, and pressure, and I just don't think that Chiesa's got all of those three things. He might put some pressure on Pettis. He might clinch him up. He might take him to the mat, and if he does, I think he'll submit him. But I just, when you look at Pettis's last like 5 losses, it's Poirier, Holloway, RDA, Alvarez, and there's another one I forget it. But again, they've all got those three things. They've all got power. They've all got aggression. They all press, and he seems to only lose to the best guys, and I just don't see Chiesa on that level. So I'm picking Pettis for the win. The reason I'm not betting the fight is just because I do think it's going to be close, and Chiesa does have a legit path to victory, because if he does get those body clinches with Pettis and drag him to the mat, I think he can definitely submit him. So that's the reason I'm not betting it, but my pick's Pettis and to get the job done by decision. What about you, Damien?
Yeah, I think if Pettis comes in top shape off the back of a serious camp, he's got really good takedown defense. It's far better than it was years ago. His stats might not show up, but what it used to be when he was just a straight striker and people would take him down, it's not that anymore. He works with Israel Martinez, and his wrestling has become better. His wrestling defense. So I think if he can keep some distance, make sure he works his angles off the cage, I think his striking will. Everyone knows that his striking is superior. His striking will get the job done.
Yeah.
But yeah, Guess is durable, man. So I think Pettis by decision.
Cool. Then next we've got Karolina Kowalkiewicz against Felice Herrig. And this is a fight I actually taped quite a bit for a potential bet, trying to get the underdog with Herrig, but ultimately I just couldn't do it. I think it's going to be a really close fight. I think it's going to be another one that's going to be a potential split decision as well, but I'm going to have to side with Kowalkiewicz here. I think that she does defend the takedowns if they do come from Herrig, because that is Herrig's path to victory. I've watched copious amount of tape of her just getting out of the clinch positions really quickly, breaking, separating, angling off, firing shots on the exit as well. I just think that if Kowalkiewicz puts it all together, which she should do, and I've not seen any sort of signs of her not being able to do that in fights, I think she'll end up taking it by decision, but I can definitely see Herrig winning a round in this, and like I say, I can maybe see in one judge scoring maybe 2 rounds to Herrig, with the fight potentially being that close. But ultimately, yeah, I'm going with Kowalkiewicz to win by a close decision. What you got, Damien?
She Karolina, she's fought. I would say she's fought higher level competition recently. You know, the JJ fights and stuff like that. So I would. I think her striking's better than Herrig's. She throws her punches a lot straighter. Um, I don't think Herrig looked that good in her last fight, striking wise, and she's got a kickboxing background. Um, I'd like to see her let her strikes go a little more. But yeah, I think Carolina is far too composed. I mean, you see her at the start of a fight leaning against the cage every single time. It's like she's, you know, going to a dance or something. It's crazy. Even I can't even be that relaxed. But it's I think she'll be far too relaxed, far too composed, and I think she will get it done on the feet. I think she might even, I think she could probably stop Herrig. But if I was going to put something on this fight, I'd definitely put it on for Carolina to get the win.
Cool. So next one we've got Ray Borg and Brandon Moreno. It's a fight that I really wanted to bet this, but I just couldn't because of the line, and I'll explain why I didn't. But I'm really high on Borg, and I said it about 3 or 4 fights ago when Borg really started to come into his own. I think it's when he first made the transition over to Jackson Wink, and I actually said at the time I think Ray Borg eventually will be the person to overtake Mighty Mouse once Mighty Mouse is done. I don't think anyone in the division will beat Mighty Mouse, but once it's done from the game, I could see Ray Borg being that number one guy at flyweight, and I still stand by that. But he's minus 275. The price is really really high, but the reason why, I mean, I don't mind paying 275. It's probably about my limit that what I would pay for an MMA fighter, but the reason I haven't bet it is because where Borg will be taking this fight is where Brandon Moreno is most dangerous, and that's sort of playing with fire a little bit. So that's the reason why I haven't bet it. But having said that, I do think Borg will win a 30-27 decision. I think the takedowns will be too much. We saw with Moreno and Dustin Ortiz before that flash knockout. Dustin Ortiz was having his way with his wrestling as well, getting takedowns. Yes, Moreno was getting back up, but he was getting dumped back down again. And I can see the same thing happening here. But like I said, just the fact that that's where Moreno is most dangerous on the ground with his BJJ and his submissions. That's the reason why I didn't want to pay a price this high. So who you got in this one, Damien?
How good's Moreno? I'm, I'm on this kid. He's exciting. But you're right. Dustin Ortiz was having his way with him. Ortiz is good, man. I actually think that he's a little bit more probably technical as far as striking to wrestling goes
Yeah,
than what Borg is. Um, Borg's dominant, and I think that he could manhandle Moreno, but I like Moreno's submission skills. He came into the UFC on short notice and he made a name for himself straight away. So I think this fight could go either way. I think if Borg was to win, he's going to win by decision. But I think Moreno could finish it inside the distance. So I'm gonna go with Moreno.
wow, okay, big underdog splash there. So
Yeah.
the next one we've got Evan Dunham and Olivier Aubin-Mercier, and again this is a fight that I still might actually bet on. The reason I haven't done a full breakdown on it is because the odds at the minute are quite far off what I actually want to bet it. So I am siding with Olivier Aubin-Mercier. It is going to be a close fight, but I think Olivier opened at like plus 140, which is way off in my eyes, and I probably would have bet him at those odds. So I'd like the odds to get a bit back up to there, but I don't think they will. They're currently plus 110 in the UK, and I'm just not interested touching it at that price. But I think Olivier's got some good judo. I think he's a black belt in judo, so he's got good trips, he's got good throws. I think Dunham's going to be the aggressor in this fight. He'll be pressing forward. But Dunham's got to have a certain game plan in this fight, and he's got to disengage at all costs. If he starts engaging with Aubin-Mercier, Dunham seems to me, when he clinches, that he leaves his lead leg out there to be tripped for the opponent to wrap their leg around him. So when you've got someone that's good with judo like Olivier, I think he could take him down with there, get him off balance and put him on his back. But then Dunham's got good jiu-jitsu, but still in the judge's eyes, you don't really want to be getting taken down constantly because that doesn't look great for you. If Dunham keeps his distance, and I think he can outvolume him over a 3-round decision, ultimately I think it will go to the decision. But I think Aubin-Mercier will score enough takedowns in 2 of the 3 rounds to take a decision. And I think he'll do it. I don't think it'll be a split. I think he's looking better every time he seems to get in the cage, and I sort of trust somebody under Firas Zahabi as well at TriStar. His striking's visibly improving fight by fight as well. I don't think he should get into firefights with Evan Dunham though, because I think that'll end up badly for him. But ultimately, I do like Olivier to win this fight, and I think he will do it by a 29-28 decision. Who we got?
Yeah, I think the only way to beat Mercier is to stay on the feet. I mean, the dude seems to get hold of people and just drag them to the mat, and once he gets hold of you, you're kind of done. I think he's a little underrated, actually. He, I think he's extremely good with his wrestling and his grappling, and I think he just hasn't had the big wins to get the recognition yet. But I think that's exactly how I see the fight playing out. I think he'll close the distance. Dunham's got really good footwork. I think, as long as he can keep up his lateral movement for the 3 rounds, he might be able to stop the takedowns. But I think we all get a little slower as the fight goes on. I think as soon as he gets flat-footed, Mercier will take him down, and he may not finish him like you say, but he'll definitely have his way, and I think he'll win the decision.
Cool. Just for that one, for anybody listening, just make sure you follow me on Twitter, and you've got my betmma.tips account as well, because if I do end up posting that bet, you will find it first on Twitter for sure. So just keep an eye out for that. The next fight we've got Alex Bruce Leroy Cacares against Artem Lobov. God, it's a fight that's going to be so close, and it probably could go so many ways. I'm not going to spend too much time on it, but I just think the range, the reach, the length of Alex Cacares is probably just going to be too much for Artem here. Artem's got really, really short arms, and it's just really weird. He's just got really short arms, and I think although he's obviously used to closing that distance because everyone seems to have a bigger reach than him, I just think Cacares is just going to manage distance a little better. He's going to be a little quicker in and out of range, and also angling out as well when Lobov puts the pressure on. So I think he's going to be the aggressor. But yeah, ultimately I just see the fight being not so entertaining, and Cacares pulling off a unanimous decision victory. So have you got Damien?
I think that I think Lobov can definitely win this fight, and the reason for that is he is the aggressor. He does go forward. He'll walk straight into Cacares, and he'll take the distance away. I think he has the ability to take the distance away. Cacares definitely has the speed advantage and the reach advantage. Maybe the striking prowess advantage as well. And he, as long as he can control the distance, you're right. He could get in and out and score his way to a decision. But I don't think that he's going to have the ability to control the distance based on the fact that Lobov's like a zombie, man. He just walks straight forward into everything. So I think if the fight plays out the way I think it will, Lobov will take the distance away from him. He'll probably wear shots doing it, but we all know if he lands, I mean, we've seen him put people to sleep, man. So I think I don't think Cacares will take the kind of shots that people like Swanson and that did. So I think if Cacares can keep the distance, he'll be right, but I don't think it's going to happen. So I'm gonna go against the grain. I'm gonna go with Lobov, but I don't think he can do it by decision. I think he needs to do it by knockout if he's going to do it.
Awesome. So next we've got Bet Rawlings and Ashley Evans Smith. It's a fight that I really haven't put tape into at all. I really don't rate either girl either. I don't really know what to say about it. I'm picking Ashley Evans-Smith to win by decision. I think it'll definitely go to a decision. But again, not been super impressed with her either. She lost the last 2 fights. Fair enough. One of them was Ketlin Vieira, which we now know is absolutely legit in that division. But she's got a wrestling side to her as well, and that's literally the only reason I'm picking her. Like I said, I've not dug too much into tape with this just because I think it's going to be a close fight either way. But Bet Rawlings will be coming forward. She will be the aggressor. I just think if she does get taken down a couple of times, that'll probably be enough in a close fight in close rounds for a judge to edge around for Ashley Evans-Smith if they see a takedown with a little bit of top control as well. So yeah, ultimately my pick's Ashley Evans-Smith. What about you, Damien?
I think there's a key factor in this fight is going to be the weight. Rawlings is coming up from 115, and Ashley Evans-Smith's coming down from 135. Correct. So I think there'll be a small size advantage to Ashley Evans-Smith. In saying that, I don't think her striking matches up to Rawlings. Maybe I'm a little biased because I'm Australian, but I think Rawlings striking is good. I'd like to see her get a little, a little aggressive and bite down on her mouth guard a little like she used to. I think she could get the win if she does that. But again, I mean, we've seen, this is going back a few years ago now, but we've seen her fight with Color Esparza, and wrestling is obviously not her strong point. So I think she's got good grappling and she's got good striking. But I think if Evans-Smith's going to win, she'll win it in the wrestle. I just think that Rawlings striking's a lot better, and she'll keep the distance and she'll pick her off because I don't think Evans-Smith's striking is that good. So I got Rawlings by decision.
Cool. And then the last one to quick fire off, we've got Devin Clark and Mike Rodriguez. Mike Rodriguez didn't, I know he got that nice knockout in Dana White's Tuesday Night Contender Series, but aside from that, when you're watching his stuff on the regional scene, it's nothing too impressive for me because this was a fight that I did tape a little bit. Ultimately, I think Devin Clark's going to win. I think he'll score takedowns. But the fact is, and the reason I haven't bet it, is I just can't trust Devin Clark to perfect the game. Sorry, to completely go with the game plan that he should. I don't think his fight IQ is as great as what it should be or it could be. Sorry. So I ultimately, I just can't trust him to go in and just instantly wrestle this dude. And Mike Rodriguez looks like a big guy as well. I do think Devin Clark's moved up unnecessarily. He does look quite small up at light heavyweight. We saw that against Jan Blachowicz as well. So it just wouldn't surprise me if Mike Rodriguez did end up, by brute strength, not allowing him to get taken down, himself to get taken down, and finishing Devin Clark, knocking him out. Like that wouldn't surprise me at all. And we saw Alex Nicholson knock Devin Clark out as well by pretty much that exact game plan as what I've just said. Mike Rodriguez should probably follow, and ultimately, yeah, I'm just going with the more experienced guy, and I think he will wrestle, and I think he will get him down, but I just can't trust my money on that. So my pick's Devin Clark by decision. Who have you got?
Devin Clark's out of Jackson's, is that right?
Yes.
Yeah, I know who he is. Just had to confirm that. Yeah, I think he'll win. I think he'll wrestle and control the fight in the wrestle, whether it be against the cage or on the ground. Um, yeah, I think he'll win a decision in this one as long as he seems to get caught with stuff that you don't see coming, like standing rear naked chokes.
Yeah.
Get knocked out by Nicholson. Like it's kind of stuff that you don't really see coming, but he seems to be a pretty complete fighter. He uses his striking to get the wrestling. He goes to his strong points. I can't see him getting caught with anything in this one. I think he'll win by decision as well.
Cool. So that's it. All the breakdowns are done. So just for all my listeners, if you're listening to this on my website, which is newsomemma.co.uk, you can fire straight over to YouTube from this video. Like, subscribe, comment, anything that you want to do there. I just want to say a quick thank you to all the people that have watched the Habib and Tony Ferguson special edition. Special episode podcast that me and Justin, UFC Bro Picks, did. It's had over 10,000 views, which is really, really flattering. So thanks for that. You know, I'm bummed out that the fight didn't happen, and I'm sure you are as well. But yeah, follow me on Twitter at Newsome_MMA. I'll be posting. That's where I post all my updates for anything betting related and MMA related, obviously, as well. Follow me over at Facebook as well at Newsome MMA. I do a lot of work with heavy duty fight management, and I tend to base all most of that content on Facebook, more of it than I do on Twitter. So make sure you follow me over there as well. And finally, Damien, just again, thanks a lot for your time. And I know it's been a bit of a nightmare for both of us to organise this. So the floor's yours now, mate. If you just want to, take it away, shout out any sponsors or anything like that you need to do. Yeah, it's all yours.
Yeah, man, I appreciate you having me on the cast and let me break down some fights with you. I love having a chat with people and interacting with fans as well. So hit me up, guys, on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram at Beatdown155. Check out Australian Sports Nutrition. They deliver anywhere, and Engage Fightwear, Engage Industries, best on the market. People in the UK are using it at the moment, so check it out. And hit me up if you want to have a chat.
Awesome. Well, again, thanks for your time, Damien, and I'm sure we'll be seeing you back in the cage soon, and we'll talk close to the time regarding that.
Thanks, mate. I appreciate it.
All right. Cheers. Bye.
See ya.